this video we are going to review our modify tab and check the extra elements. So I will go to my practice area here and go to the modify tab. We are going to review these elements. So we already know what is move and how does it work by selecting our object. Shortcut is MV. We are going to have constraint. If you select the constraint, it's going to move your object without any angle, just horizontal and vertical. But if it's off, you can move it by angle as well. So it was about move. The other option is copy. By clicking on CO, you can copy your object as many time as you want. But for example, if the multiple is off, by copy your object one time, you cannot copy it again. You need to turn on the multiple and copy it as many times as you want. If you want to copy it by the exact number, you can just add value after each copy. And also we are going to have the constraint as well here. The other option, we are going to check trim, which we use it a lot. So I'm just going to create, for example, some wall. So the trim option is working by selecting TR. We can trim it like this. So it means that if I want to trim this wall to this wall, it's going to remove the area behind of them or any connection like that. It removed these two walls, okay? But if I select this side and this side, it's going to remove those two sides. It's about trim this one by this one. It's going to remove this area, but this wall, this side by this side, it's going to remove that area. So it was about a trim option, which is very useful tool. The other is align, trim, extend element. It's also useful, but the other one is much more useful because with this one you can trim and extend it multiple times, but with this one you can use it for one time. So it means that I select this side of the wall and my wall. So it's going to work one time. The other time, if you want to do it, you need to select it separately. For example, I need to go here and select it again. But if I want to, for example, use it for multiple time, I can use the next option here and select my host and start selecting my wall. And for example, if I have two layers of wall, I can it's going to work. If you select your wall here, it's going to pass this wall here without any problem. And even if you have a small wall here and you want to trim and extend this wall, it's going to work by selecting just. You don't need to, for example, have this wall for a long way and use it after that. The other option is a scale. It's also easy. We are going to create one room here. So by selecting your object and go to the scale, we are going to have two options, numerical and graphical. Graphical means if you select from this edge to this edge, it's 8 meters. So you want to make it 10 meters. You just need to move your mouse and add the value of 10 meters. You want to make it bigger, it's okay. You can just, or you want to make it smaller, it's okay. You can just select any area. It doesn't matter if it's the other area. For example, you have a wall here. It's useful element for AutoCAD file as well. You have one wall here or any object and this is your AutoCAD file. You know, in your AutoCAD file, this wall supposed to be, for example, 10 meter, for example, supposed to be 20 meter, but now it's 10 meter. If I have a wall by 20 meter here and I want to make this plan or make this room the same size as the same size and scale as this wall, I just go select my room, and after that I can just go here, select this wall 2 point, and after that I can just go, okay, first I need to select my wall here, and after that I can like okay, now we are going to work on the scale modify. So when you are selecting your for example, let me create one wall here. I have this room here and I want to make this room the same size as this one, so I just need to move it here. It can be a very complex, for example, drafting, for example, like this. I'm just going to select all, use the scale, and we are going to have two options. Right now, graphical is useful, numerical is not useful right now. So I'm just going to choose the graphical and select this to side and take my mouse until the end of this wall. It's going to scale it according to this wall. For example, you have one smaller wall and you want to change the size of this room according to this. I'm just going to put it in a same line, for example here, and after that I can go use the scale, select the end of the start and end of this point, and after that according to this wall I'm going to scale it. The other option of a scale is about numerical. For example, you select your numerical here, the scale is 0.3. You want to make it 2 times bigger, you are just going to add 2 and enter. It's going to make it 2 times bigger. If you are going to select your wall, we can see the scale here. For example, if you want to make it half, you're just going to add the value of 1. After that you're going to once more scale 1. You just need to select on your wall. So we are just going to select our option, scale, numerical. For example, I want to make it name. I'm just going to drag my object. I want to make it 5 times bigger. I'm going to the scale, numerical 5. I will just drag my object. It's going to create it 5 times bigger. The other option is about array. For example, if I go to the component, by choosing the array, we are going to have 2 options here for drawing, for moving. Second and last, we use these options a lot. For example, now we are going to work with second. The second means the amount or the measurement between your object. For example, now it says between the middle of these two, it's, for example, 4 meter. Okay, this area is going to be the same amount as the other supposed to have. I will add the value of 10. They are going to have the same value between each other, so we can check it out. 2 meter, 2 meter, and 2 meter, like that. So the other order of the array is the last. It's going to be useful, for example, if we have one wall here and our object is here and one wall here. So we want to create some of these box between these two walls. So I'm just going to select and use the array. Here the two point is not working because we don't know how many we can fit between these two. So I'm just going to use the last, put the last here, and I add the, for example, a value of 8. It's going to create 8. If I create 10, it's going to overlap. If I put 5, it's going to create it like this. So the other area of array, it's going to be linear or radial. So by clicking on linear, we are creating according to the line. By creating to the radial, we can create it according to the radial. For example, I put my point here and I can like create according to this circle. Also, you can use the last and second. For example, I would like my last object will be here. So I'm going to add the value of 10. It's going to create it here, 10. If I drag this, it's going to open the area and it's going to create that 10 object. I can change this 10 here to put it, for example, 7. And we have the same option again, but with the second. If I select my box, array, second, so I'm just going to create each of them by this measurement and create 5, for example, 5 of them. It's going to create 5 with the same measurement between each other. The other order of modifier tab, it's going to be about mirror. So for example, I have one wall here and one wall here and one door. So we have two options of mirror. Here is peak access, here is through access. The peak access means if I want to mirror this door, I can use, and the wall is here, I can use the peak access because I can, for example, use this wall as an access line and it's going to create it here. But if you don't have any sort of situation which you can use the access situation or any wall, you can just draft it by yourself by using this pencil option. Just go here and find the middle of the wall, just draft one line here. It's going to create your door here without any problem. And you can even use it, for example, for, because it's door, it's not going to show my example. For example, you can even use it for different situation, like for example here to here, 45, for example, degree. It depends on your situation. The other order is going to be offset. So offset is useful for copy as well. Here, for example, the R value is 2, we can change it to 4. If I'm in the copy, it's going to copy. If it's not a copy, it's just going to move the main object. If it's numerical, it's going to add it by the offset. If it's graphical, it's just going to, for example, put it here, and after that it's going to work like that. But if it's in numerical, you can add the value and just pick the line. It's going to create as many as you want by 2 meters. Each of them is 2 meters. If you wanted to use the copy option for this order, it's going to take a long time, because you need to, even you use the multiple time, you need to add the value each time, 2 by 2 by 2 by 2. But now you just use the offset and it's going to be fast. Even we can use the array, it's going to be much more fast by just use the second point and remove our linear mode. We need to go and just move my object for 2 meter, tell them make 10 of that. So the other option is align, which we already work with that a lot. For example, I have these two situations and I want to align this wall to this wall. I can use trim, but it's going to cut the other area. So here it's going to be align useful just by selecting your face and your wall. So I'm going to select my face and my wall. It's going to align it. As you also can see here, for example, I have one wall here and I have some wall here. I can use this option to align it like that. Okay, but for example, if you have one wall here, or not wall, for example, the other object. For example, I have this box here. I want to align it with this line. I can just go use the modifier align, pick this wall face and align my object. You can use it for example for multiple objects, and it's a very useful order, but for using a multiple time you need to mark multiple alignments. The other object is about a split, so I'm going to draft two wall here. The first one is the split without. Here we have a split with gap, here a split without gap. The without gap, you can create your split. It's going to separate, for example, different elements, but they are connected to each other. You cannot move them, okay? But a split with gap, if you are creating your split with gap, it's going to create a small gap between your wall, but also you cannot move it separately unless you are going to unlock your object. After that, you can move it separately, like that. So it's about a split. We know pin and unpin, which we use it for our AutoCAD, and delete. So right now we review our modify panel.